Welcome students, this is Professor Sagar B. So today we will be dealing with the new chapter of design of steel structure elements. The chapter is tension members. So we will start with today's lecture. So tension members. What are tension members? The members which actually have a tensile force in it, or the member which wherein the loads are causing it to extend, that is in the tensile form. Let us take an example of this truss. This is a truss. So we have n number of members in it. So there is a loading acting on it, that is, one is its self weight of the member, and say if external wind load is acting on the truss. So if the wind force is acting, say, in this direction, then what will happen is this portion will become into a compressive member, that is, if the force is acting from here, this members will have a tensile force and this will become the compressive force, and if the wind will act from here, so what will happen, this will become tensile and this will become compressive. So what happens in a truss, we have a combination of compression and tension members. So our topic for today is design of tension members. So where all you can see such kind of tension members, or we also call it as a tie member. So one of the best example is a truss wherein it will have a combination of compression member and a tension member. Say for example, now these are the top chords. Here the top chords, say they are taking a compressive force, and these are the bottom chords which are taking the tension force. So what we are dealing in this chapter is, we are dealing with the members which has a tensile force in it, or the members which take the tensile force. Say for example, this is a chord member, bottom chord member, which is having a tensile force in it, which is resisting a tensile force. So this has to be designed as a tension member. So we are only discussing in this chapter regarding the tension members. Apart from truss, where all you can see the tension members in the bridges. If you see a suspension bridges or cable stayed bridges, in suspension bridges the suspender cables are in tensile force. Similarly, in cable stayed bridges, wherein the cables are attached to the pier and the tower, those cables are under tensile forces. So whichever members which take the tensile forces, and when we are designing it as a members to resist those tension, are called as tensile members or a tension members. Now in this we are discussing specially about design of steel structures. So design of steel structures wherein the members are under tension. So let us start. So tension members, I will tell once again, the members which have tensile force in it or which resist the tensile force in it, or the members which are acted by the tensile force, are the tension members. Now let us see the first step, that is the section, that is types of sections taken for the tensile members. So there are n number of sections that may be taken. I have drawn few. Say this is an angle section, this is a T section, this is a channel section, this is as a double angle back to back. So these may be used in this truss member. There are n number of sections. I would like to show it in the code book. So if you go to page number 19 of IS 800 2007, we have a number of sections. So you can use any of these sections for the tension members. So let us discuss. So I have drawn only few here. So what is the major part? The major part is the slenderness ratio. Now what is the slenderness ratio? Slenderness ratio is the ratio of effective length to the radius of gyration. So which is given by lambda is equal to LE by R minimum. And what is effective length? The length in which is effective to take the loads, that is called as the effective length, and it has some limits, like full length is the full span and the effective length is nothing but the span which is effective. So lambda slenderness ratio is given by LE by R minimum, wherein the effective length is LE is equal to 0.85 L. So for this tension members we have certain limits. So what are those limits? Let us check. So let us discuss about the slenderness ratio. So, as per Indian standard IS 800 2007, from table number 3 clause number 3.8, we have taken this ratio wherein the slenderness ratio should be maximum up to 180, for which condition when for the reversal of stresses due to the loads other than wind loads, that means other than wind loads, that may be a dead load, that may be other. So, apart from wind load, anything is there which causes the reversal of stresses in the members, that should not exceed a slenderness ratio of 180, and the slenderness ratio of maximum of 350 if the reversal of the load is due to the wind load. Now, from where we have taken, this is from page number 20, so I will just take it to you. This is page number 20, table number 3. So, clause number 3.8, what in it says? Maximum effective slenderness ratio. The maximum effective slenderness ratio KL by R. So, this KL by R is nothing but lambda itself. Values of the beam, strut or tension member shall not exceed those given in the table number 3. That means what? The slenderness ratio should not exceed this given in the table number 3. So, maximum values of effective slenderness ratio. So, first is here is the point, that is serial number 2, a tension member in which a reversal of direct stress occurs due to the loads other than wind or seismic forces is 180. So, that I have written here. So, for not more than 180 for the reversal of stresses due to the loads other than wind and seismic load. Then next here, a member normally acting as a tie in the sense tension member in a roof truss or a bracing system, not considered effective when the subject to possible reversal of stresses into compression resulting from the action of wind or earthquake forces, that should be not exceed 350. So, the slenderness ratio should not exceed 350. So, this is when the reversal of loads takes place due to the wind and seismic forces. So, remember, lambda should not exceed 180 in the cases of when the loads are other than wind and seismic, and it should not exceed 350 when the loads or reversal of stress is caused due to the wind load or the seismic forces. What is reversal of stresses? For example, if this is a truss, best example, if the forces are acting from here, say wind load, it may happen that if this is causing on this member as tension, then this will be in the compression. Same way, if from here it is applied, this will become tension and this will become a compression member. So, in such cases, it may happen that reversal of stresses are possible. So, that is the meaning. Now, let us come to the design part of the tension member according to IS 800 2007. So, let us go to page number 32, wherein they have discussed about the tension members. So, this is page number 32 of IS 800 2007, section 6, which gives design of tension members. So, they are given what are the tension members. So, according to the IS code, tension members are linear members in which axial forces act to cause the elongation. Such members can sustain load up to the ultimate load, at which stage they may fail by rupture at the critical section. However, if the gross area of member yields over a major portion of its length before the rupture load is reached, the member may become non-functional due to the excessive elongation. Plates and other rolled sections in tension may also fail by block shear of end bolt region. So, according to them, again the tension member is nothing but a linear member which is having a tensile force acting on it to resist the elongation. So, in this portion there are three most important points to be remembered. The first point is the failure. So, this explains the failure criteria of steel under tensile forces. So, there are three failure criteria. The first one is rupture at a critical section first, that is at, say, let us discuss the 3 points. So, the first point is ultimate load, second point is rupture at a critical section, third point yield, and the fourth point block shear. So, we have to think about the failure criteria of the steel. What is failure criteria of the steel? How the members fail under, steel members fail under the tensile forces. So, let us see how the tension member fails under the tensile forces. So, there are three parameters. One is rupture at critical section first, second gross area of the member to yields, third block shear. Depending upon these three, the failure criteria of the steel has been given for tensile members, and that is used in the design of tension members. Now, what is the factor design tension T in the member which should satisfy the following requirement? T should be less than TD, where TD is the design strength of the member. The same thing I have written it here. So, factor design strength T in a member is T less than TD. TD is nothing but design strength of the member. And as I discussed, how I have made it easier to remember, the design strength TD of a member under axial tension is the least of the three failure patterns. Which are those three failure patterns? The first one is design strength due to yielding of gross cross section. Second, rupture strength of critical section. Third, design strength due to the failure by block shear. These are the three. So, let us see in the code book. So, as I told, there are three more important points: gross area of the section for yielding, rupture of critical section, and block shear. So, let us see here. So, they have given the design strength of a member under axial tension TD is the least of design strength due to yielding of cross section TDG, then rupture strength of critical section TDN, and the block shear TDB. So, I have written it here. So, the tension member, the design strength of a member under axial tension is the least of these three, and they have specified the notations. So, TDG is for design of tensile strength due to gross yielding, TDN is due to the rupture of the critical section, TDB is for the block shear. So, let us discuss one by one. So, the first one is design strength due to yielding of a cross section. So, the design strength of the member under axial tension TDG as governed by yielding of cross section is given by TDG is equal to AgFy divided by gamma m naught. The same thing I have written it here. Let us see. So, the strength, design strength due to yielding, I have shown you the clause which gives the formula TDG is equal to AgFy divided by gamma m naught. Now, TD represents tensile strength, G represents gross cross section area. So, this is the first failure criteria of the steel, and what is the formula? AgFy divided by gamma m naught. Ag is gross cross sectional area of the section, Fi is the yield stress of the material, and gamma m naught is the partial factor of safety. The meaning of this I will tell you. What is yielding? So, in this you can see, as the formula has taken gross cross sectional area, that means what? The failure of the tension member when the full strength of the member is used, that is without the bolt holes, that means considering a solid plate, that is the solid strength. So, remember, full gross cross sectional area when it yields, then the tension member fails. So, this is the first criteria of the steel. So, this is the formula given. So, this is given on page number 32 of IS 800 2007, and the formula is given here in the clause 6.2. TDG is equal to AgFy divided by gamma m naught. This is the first criteria of failure of the steel members under tensile forces. So, this is the formula. So, the next two, that is design strength due to rupture of critical section and the design strength due to the block shear, will be discussed in the next lecture. Thank you. Be home, stay safe.